What's up YouTube, Zero here, and today I have an amazing Dialga EX, Arceus EX, and Porygon-Z deck in Pokemon TCG Pocket. In this video, I'm going to go over the deck build, which is on the left-hand side of the screen. I'm going to talk about each of the cards. I'm going to talk about why they play really well together and why this deck is going to be great playing against other opponents and how you're going to be able to win with this deck. Before I get into it, I do want to say if you do enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more Pokemon content. I do a bunch of other video games, so feel free to check those out as well. Thank you so much in advance for doing so. Without further ado, let's talk about the deck. So the Pokemon in this deck are straightforward. 2 Dialga EXs, 2 Arceus EXs, and double of the Porygon-Z line. So that's Porygon, Porygon-2, and Porygon-Z. Now let's talk about why those Pokemon are great in this deck, and then I'll talk about the support cards. Dialga EX is obvious. Dialga, with its turbocharged move for only 2 energy, are going to be able to build up the energy quickly on your Porygon-Z and your Arceus EX. You turbocharge both of those Pokemon, so both of them on your bench are going to be ready to attack whatever Pokemon your opponent is going to throw in that active slot. Dialga EX is in this deck just to turbocharge the other Pokemon. Now, Dialga DX can absolutely hit for some damage, but utilizing 4 energy for 100 hit points isn't great. There are better Pokemon in the game that hit harder for less energy, Arceus EX being one of them. 3 energy, and if your bench is full, can hit for 130 damage. So Arceus EX is going to be your damage dealer of this deck. Dialga EX is going to be the turbocharge, the energy buildup of this deck. So ultimately, in hopes, you want to pull that Dialga EX early, put it in the active slot, build up the energy on your other Pokemon. Now, once you build up the energy on your other Pokemon, your Porygon-Z or your Arceus EX, you can determine how the battle is going, which one you want to put in that active slot. Perhaps you want to slow down your opponent from building up a certain energy type on their Pokemon. That's where Porygon-Z is going to come into play. With its move Buggy Beam, it randomizes the energy out of your opponent's energy zone. So if that Pokemon requires dark energy and you're able to randomize it, you're going to slow down and potentially even stop your opponent from building up that dark energy. However, if your opponent already has energy built up, or your opponent doesn't care what energy is coming out of that energy zone, then Arceus EX is going to be your best bet to win the match. Again, like I said, if your bench is filled, Arceus EX is going to be dealing 130 damage, so that's absolutely awesome. For those of you who don't know, Arceus EX's move is 70 damage plus 20 times every bench slot filled. So if you have one Pokemon, it's going to be 7 plus 20, that's going to be 90. If you have 2 bench slots filled, that's going to be 110. If you have a full bench, you're going to be dealing 130 damage. So depending on how the game is playing out, what your opponent is playing is going to determine which way this deck and who you're putting in the active slot is going to go. That's what I love about this deck, is that you have multiple options as to how you're going to win the match. You can kind of see how your opponent is playing it, what deck your opponent has, as to how you're going to win this match. Porygon-Z is going to mix up the energy for that opponent so they can't build up the energy they want if their deck does require a certain type of energy. Arceus is just going to hit for a lot of damage. So that's absolutely phenomenal, is with this combination of Dialga, Porygon-Z, and Arceus, you can win in multiple ways, which is something I absolutely love. Now let's talk about the support cards that I enjoy with this deck. So first, something that's almost crucial in every deck is going to be Professor's Research and Pokeball. You're of course going to want to get to your Pokemon as quickly as possible, whether it's pulling that Arceus, whether it's pulling a Porygon or one of the chain, whether it's getting that Dialga EX out there so you can build up the energy on your Pokemon. Getting to your Pokemon and playing them quickly and early is going to be crucial to getting that victory. You want to get that Dialga EX out there, build up the energy on your Pokemon so you can determine which way this battle is going to determine who you're going to want in the active slot. So that's absolutely imperative. Pokeball and Professor's Research are going to get you there quicker. Cyrus is one of those obvious right now. It is extremely great in the game, so enemies can't hide a weakened Pokemon on their bench. It's a way you can win a lot of matches if there's a weakened Pokemon on the enemy's bench, to where you can bring that enemy out from their bench into the active slot and finish them off. So I absolutely love Cyrus for that reason. Now moving over to Giovanni. Giovanni is an extremely big help, especially on Arceus. Now, I mentioned earlier, Arceus with a full bench deals 130 damage. There are absolutely a lot of Pokemon in the game with 140 base HP. You can see my opponent, the one on the screen right now, has a Darkrai that has 140 base HP. They also have an Arceus EX that has 140 base HP. There are other Pokemon, a lot of EX Pokemon or Pokemon in general, that have 140 base HP. Giovanni plus Arceus is going to get you to that 140, so you don't have to worry about two-hitting your opponent's Pokemon. You can one-hit and get that break point, so you don't have to worry about how the match is playing out. You can just finish off your opponent's Pokemon with the 140 hit points. A lot of Pokemon have 140 hit points, so getting to that final slot is going to be extremely important in terms of winning the match. That's why Giovanni is going to be crucial here. It helps Arceus get over that edge. So just a reminder that that's going to be extremely important to winning matches, is that Giovanni is going to add that 10 to Arceus so you can do 140 damage and finish off opponents with one hit. Cape and Rocky Helm are great tools and can be interchanged based off of maybe how you want this deck to play out. Potions are nice to heal up your Pokemon, especially from early damage. Rocky Helm is great so you can discourage the opponent from attacking you or just deal extra damage. Giant Cape, another way of bringing your HP up. I just mentioned that Arceus plus Giovanni deals 140, so putting this cape onto Arceus EX is going to prevent an opponent from hit KOing you if they do have a Giovanni plus a full bench Arceus. It'll also help some stronger Pokemon not KO your Dialga EX. Of course, Palkia deals 150, Mewtwo deals 150. So certain Pokemon, if you have that Giant Cape on Dialga EX, will be prevented from one-hit KOing your Dialga EX. So I do like Giant Cape and Rocky Helm. It really depends on the match, what opponent I'm facing, what deck they have, to see kind of how I want and where I want to apply those tools. But they do really help out, especially to take some extra damage when I have Giant Cape and dish out some extra damage with Rocky Helm. So I do like them in here. They are great, but maybe you're a player who doesn't care as much about the HP. You want to just go with 2 Rocky Helms, or maybe you care more about HP. You just want to go with 2 Giant Capes. That is perfectly great as well. It's just something I like to have one of each, because depending on how the match plays out, I like to apply them in specific scenarios. Just like with the Pokemon of this deck, I can apply them in the active spot based off of the specific scenario that I am encountering. So of course, you play out your Porygon, you change up the energy, and now the opponent's not going to be able to attack. Make it harder for them to kill you, so add a Giant Cape. But perhaps you have your Arceus out there, you have your Giovanni, and maybe you're facing an EX Pokemon that's a little bit stronger, so you want to put that Rocky Helm on so you could deal a little bit extra damage if they do attack you. Or if the EX Pokemon does have a giant cape on, it can counteract that as well. I just mentioned Arceus EX, Darkrai EX, both have 140 HP. If they have a giant cape on, that's now 160. If you have a Rocky Helm on your Arceus EX, you're going to be able to do that 20 to counteract that giant cape. That's why I do like Rocky Helm, and I do like Giant Cape. It really just depends on the situation, which is why I like having one of each. This deck has multiple ways of win, which is why I absolutely love it. I've been trying for a while to find a way to get Porygon-Z into a deck just because it's a fun card to have. You switch up the opponent's energy, so they're kind of questioning what they can do to try and win the match, because certain decks do rely on a specific energy type, like the one you're seeing on the screen where they rely on fighting energy, and the energy that I'm generating really isn't helping them out. So it is a very fun deck, can really frustrate your opponents. I've had a lot of opponents concede because I'm switching up their energy. It's just a fun deck to have. So I absolutely love this deck. It's really fun and can win you a lot of games. I've won a lot with this deck. It's absolutely fun to play. Let me know in the comments section what y'all think of this deck. Do you like the Dialga, Arceus, and Porygon-Z combination? Are you going to check it out now that you've checked out this deck and heard what I've had to say about it? Let me know in the comments section. Is there a different card or cards that you would switch into this deck, or which ones would you switch out to make it even better? Let me know in the comments section. Of course, I'm very curious to hear what y'all think of this deck and how you would tweak it to make it even better. Let's talk Pokemon TCG in the comments section. I am very curious to hear everyone's opinion on this and anything in general. What are some decks that you've been loving that aren't maybe meta, but you've been doing extremely well with? Let me know in the comment section. If there's a Pokemon that you would love to see in a deck but haven't found the right build, let me know and I'll try and come up with a deck around that Pokemon. So let me know as well. Now we are coming down to the end of the video. Thank you again so much for hitting that thumbs up button and subscribing to the channel. I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. It is St. Patrick's Day for me as I'm recording this video, so happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. I hope y'all enjoy your St. Patrick's Day and the weekend if it is the weekend for you, but whatever day it is, I hope you enjoy. I will talk to y'all in the comments section, and until next time, peace.